Now we're hot.
We're
Hello,
cold because
testing, testing,
winter
one, two,
time.
three. This is Wesley from GDEX. Can you guys hear us? We'll do a little bit of voice audio testing while we kind of get things going. How's everybody doing? I see some chats going on. Got some first jammers. I hear a yep. I hear a open mouth face. All right, let's go ahead and switch over.
Fantastic.
All right, hey everybody. How's it going? This is our 2023 Winter or GDEX Winter Game Jam. So my name is Wesley Adams. I'm one of the moderators with GDEX and a lot of other things too, which we can kind of go over later. But we're very excited to have everybody here tonight. We've had a lot of plans going and a lot of things working out. And to be frank, like you guys are really kicking it. There's a ton of people here, so we're super excited to see what everybody is going to make this year. This is our first winter game jam. We actually do one in the summertime. I forget how many times we've done it in the past. It's probably like our third or fourth time we've done it this year.
That was our
Um,
fourth.
our fourth, yeah. So we're very excited. This is turning out to be probably one of our biggest game jams, which is really exciting. We have a lot of really cool tools for you. We have a lot of good game professionals to help you out, and a lot of exciting news as we go into towards the end of the stream. We're going to do our reveal tonight of what our theme is going to be based on. So a little bit about myself. I'm with these two folks as well as a couple other teams from Multivarious Games. We're from Columbus, Ohio. I have an assortment of different opportunities we work with locally. And so my background is in 3D animation, as well as game design and development and whatnot. And I'm also a community manager for a couple of different communities, for example. So that's me in a nutshell. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to, oh, how about this one? Tom, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Tom. I'm technical lead with Multivarious, GDEX, and with Jamio. So got a lot on my plate. But I think it's really my GDEX game jam's one of my favorite times of the year because I get to just hang out with a bunch of other like-minded, passionate people and make some cool stuff. So really excited for this. Also, I got a fact check already that this is actually our fifth. Uh, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Oh,
This
that
makes
is
five.
true.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is our fifth.
this is our,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
we've
We've done
done
four
four.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then countless other game jams too, like Global Game Jam. So
Hmm.
yeah, we're
Associated with multiple others. Yeah.
right. So cool. All right. Um, let's go ahead and pass it over to this guy, Chris, and maybe talk a bit about yourself. I know it's a little bit opposite
I'm
because my
yeah, I'm
camera.
over here on your screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh yeah, so welcome everybody. My name is Chris Volpe. I am the president and founder of Multivarious Games, which Wes mentioned. I'm also the founder and executive director of the GDEX Expo, which takes place in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. So it'll be in the fall of next year. We'll release some information about that. But I just wanted to come on and welcome all of you. We decided to do this just because we've kind of gotten off cycle on some of our stuff due to COVID and things. And we were thinking it'd be cool to do an event during the winter that isn't like your typical event. And if you go into Itch, we're starting to see a lot of game jams that are beginning to be longer. But traditionally, game jams have always kind of been 48 to 72 hours. We're like, well, what if we did something over winter when students are out of school, people have got breaks from work for the holidays, where people could work as a team sort of around their schedule, and we would have 4 weeks to put something together. So not everybody is from the U.S., so some people could be working, quote unquote, overnight, while folks in the U.S. are working during the day, and just kind of spend that time over the holiday in a casual, fun style. So even though there's awards and we're gonna have judging and showcasing and stuff, this is designed to be a low-key chill event where you can work with your team to create something special over the next 4 weeks. So I wanted to personally thank you all for coming. We're excited that you're all here. We're currently, I think, at 112 people right now signed up. which is exciting. And so we're really excited to see what you're going to produce. Wes and Tom will walk you through the process of joining a team. Of course, we have our Jamio tool to help assist with this event. So you can sign up at jamio.xyz, and they'll run you through that. And then lastly, I do want to thank our partners in this event. So obviously we're GDEX, so Multivarious, which runs GDEX, the expo. And we also created the Jamio tool, but our other partner is Global Game Jam, who also have a game jam coming up in late January. So throughout this event, you'll be seeing and hearing updates about Global Game Jam. We have been working with them for, I don't know, Wes, almost 15 years now.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time. So that's another great event. So this will kind of, I think, we're seeing in the chat here that a lot of you, I know I can see some of my students on here, which is great. So welcome. And some of you have never done a game jam before. So this will be a good leisurely way into experiencing a game jam for the first time. Whereas Global Game Jam, not to say that it's hectic, but that is a much shorter weekend jam. So a lot of people kind of use that as a crunch jam. But we'll give you more information about that over the next few weeks. So I want to thank Tim and his team over at Global Game Jam for being a partner with us in this. And then the International Game Developer Association is also a partner with us. So I would check out, there's links on our itch, and we'll have links to other things. But they are an advocacy and educational organization for game developers. So they are global, and their whole job is to advocate for games development as an industry, as a creative art form, and to help those who are in the games development space to get the access to the resources and connections and network and everything. So they're very, very important in our industry. So I would recommend checking them out if you want to become a member. I'm sure that they would be happy to have you. Again, thank you all for being a part of this event. We are excited to have you. Tom, Wes, Lucas, Cody, and myself will be on this Discord throughout the next 4 weeks. So feel free, if you see us, to reach out. If you want to add us on the Discords, feel free to do that too. And we will help in any way that we can. And we'll also introduce you to other resources that we think will be helpful for you, whether you're sort of a new game dev, maybe a student or an aspiring game dev, or if you have been in the game dev space for a long time and you are quote unquote a professional. We have a variety of resources to help you out. So I will stop rambling. Thank you again. We hope that you all really enjoy your experience. And Mr. Wes, back to you.
Yeah, sure. So I'll kind of break up the next couple of parts. Try to be as quick as possible. I know you guys are excited to get started, and we're excited to get everybody ready to go and talk about the theme. But I just want to make sure everybody has this video as a resource in the future for them to reference and to look at later if you have questions. I mean, obviously, we're going to be here all game jam sessions for the month of December and early January. But if you want to use this to watch and come later, or if someone maybe part of your team or not part of your team is coming later and they want to see the stream, they can use this as a resource, and we'll share that out later. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let me switch over to my browser. There we go. So this is our landing page, which is a great place for you to start and kind of get your information. So GDEX, this is our website. This is where you can find all our information. If you were to actually go to thegdex.com/game jam, all one word, you'll find all our information here. This is a great platform to start with. And basically, to register for the event, you have two main things you need to do. One is this itch button will take you to our it kind of looks very similar, but it's the itch game jam page, and you'll need to go in here to put in it's a little bit different for me because I'm actually on the admin side, but you'll be able to register here. And then once you're registered here, you'll actually see some more information that might be pertinent to you. There are partners, there's our theme, which will come up pretty soon. We have all our schedules, and then I actually have a full schedule, which I'll show you here in just a sec. But there'll be kind of different parts of the event that will kind of stream some other different things as we go along. We do have judging criteria, so that's something to keep in mind as you go through. It's basically based on a 1 to 5 point scale, 5 being the highest, low being the lowest. And they'll be based on functionality, visual design, gameplay, engagement, and representation of the theme. And that's just to kind of give you something fun to look at, right? Like, as Chris said, this is not really a competition. If anything, we try to make this as casual as possible, especially this one. It's a month long. You've got plenty of time. If you said, okay, I only have 3 days to work on this, that's fine. You can make a pretty good game. I mean, you're not going to make League of Legends in a month, or even 3 days, but you can make a pretty good game. And there's been lots of games, especially through the itch.io website, that have gone on to become fantastic games later. So use this as a resource to learn, to get to know people, to get to network with folks, and have fun. That's the big thing with this. Is like, I know a lot of folks are going to be busy over the holidays, but a lot of people will also have breaks. So this is your time to shine. This is your time to kind of go in and learn something new, get to hang out with folks and have fun. And then we're going to be here the entire time to kind of help you out. So kind of going back to this landing page, is you have the Discord channel. So if I were to go in here, I say accept, I gotta kind of move through here. Let me move that down. I've got a secondary account. This is what you'll see when you first jump into Discord. So Discord is a kind of a game instant messaging app. If you're not familiar with it, that's okay. We're going to help you out. But this will be the easiest way to kind of get in contact with us live, because Tom and I, for example, are on here all the time. So we're kind of poking with people and kind of helping folks. So if you see Wesley, me, or Tom, that's us on the stream right now, and obviously like Chris and Lucas and Katie and everybody else will be here too. If you see GDEX on our name, like that's definitely us. So we're going to help you throughout. So you'll kind of start here in the public channel, and then what you're going to want to do is go down to the Winter Game Jam 2023 category, and you'll see a channel with the red flag that says registration. And this is where we actually have Jamio. So Jamio is a Discord bot that we've created internally. I've been working on it for about a year or so, 2 years at this point, just depending on and off. And you'll see that they have a lot of instructions that'll be good to read. But ideally what you do is you just look under, say, the registration commands. You'll see that the word registered is highlighted there. You can type that, and that'll register for this jam. So you'll see Jamio is actually working on getting me registered. So this is important too. Yep, I see somebody else already kind of going in there. Great. So Jamio is going to be working on that in the side. So we have a whole database that is kind of storing this information and going back and forth between Discord. And what will happen is once you're registered, so it looks like I'm good to go, you'll see that my name showed up on the list right here. I'm actually a test jammer. That's my other account. And then once you're in here, you can start to look through all this. And I'm going to allow Tom to kind of go through some of these commands a bit more. But this is kind of the first way to start, is you want to go to the landing page, sign up to Itch, go to Discord, sign up through Jamio on the registration channel, and then you're good to start. At that point, we can start talking to you. We can start helping you out. If you do get stuck, we'll be here throughout the way. I mean, we will be able to see what people are doing to kind of help them if they seem to be kind of like, struggling to kind of get where they need to be. But that's going to be the biggest way to kind of get started. This page also has information about Jamio if you want to learn more about it. So this is a great place to look towards if you want to use it for your own jam. So we do have a free version that you can test out and try out today if you kind of want to use that in a channel. You can use it for other things too if you don't want to use it for game jams. It's a great bot for organizing teams and such, and just creating good community organized channels in your Discord. So definitely check that out. And then if you go down to the very bottom, this is our casual GDEX Game Jam rules. So this isn't really changed a whole lot, but it's got a lot of good information for you. It's pretty standard. We don't really have a ton of restrictions. I mean, the main ones are you have to start today and you have to end on the end of the day, Sunday, January 7th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. That's the main regulations. We ask that, if you have licensing things or not safe for work, try to avoid using those, or if it's a licensing thing, please make sure you're abiding by those legally. No NDA binding, work or anything like that. Things that you can't normally do legally. But outside of that, we're pretty open. We're pretty flexible. This is meant to be a long jam to make sure that you can kind of get what you need done, right? So feel free to go through some of these rules if you have questions, and let us know. I know some folks were asking about a couple things like, can I bring in my own assets, or can I grab some open source stuff? Some people were even asking about AI. My 2 cents is just like, as long as it's aware that we're adding those types of things in there, like if you need to credit someone or if it's AI, just to kind of note it. That way people know, like, what the content is and, where it's coming from. And it's not just like, hey, here's an illustration, and I'm not saying it's my work, but it's an AI work, then they know what that is. So we're pretty flexible. But yeah, Tom can talk a bit about that too, if you'd like to. But
Sure.
Yeah. And then the only other thing is make sure to read the GDEX Code of Conduct. This is kind of a lot like what we do in our expo, so just make sure you're abiding by that as well. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Oh yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. I think the main thing we want to avoid is obviously copyright infringement for anything, and we recognize that there's a lot of jams out there that are extremely strict and like say you have to make everything from scratch and like limiting what kinds of tools you can use. Like Wes said, we're a lot more relaxed as long as you cite and like share any licenses that are required, and be forthcoming about what you're using that's not made by you. So as long as it's like present in the game or on the itch page, or ideally both, where your third party either assets are coming from, or just like any programmer getting on like a forum and finding a code snippet, when you find things that you can use, or like an AI system recommends like blocks of code or patterns for you to use, we just ask that you link back to the source of wherever you found or got it, and just be upfront about it, because that that helps the those that created that information that you're making use of and benefiting from. So but yeah, otherwise we are pretty loose about it, and we're as far as just honor system and everybody be forthcoming and proactive about what you're doing with stuff that you're not fully making yourself. I think it generally all balances out in the end. So we've never had any problems with anything in the past. So
yeah, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just to piggyback off of Wes and Tom, the general gist of what we're trying to do is game development. It's come a long way. I mean, since we started in early 2011, and there's just a lot of resources that are available now. So the Unity Asset Store, for example, Turbo Squid's another one. There's a lot of places where you can find assets. You can make use of them. There's music that you can get online. Tom mentioned there's code snippets and developer forums. So make use of those things. Learn how to navigate the game dev world to make the most efficient use of what you have. Yeah, here's some resources for jammers that will.
Yeah, I was just gonna say this is a great one, but yeah, to your point, reciprocating.
Yeah, so we'll make sure you have access to this, but just like everything else in a professional environment, make sure you appropriately cite your sources and link back to what's appropriate. But yeah, feel free to make use of resources. Some people like the challenge of doing everything from scratch. So if that's you, go for it. But with a limited amount of time, I would suggest using Unity, Unreal, Godot. Find a game engine you like. You don't need to build a game engine from scratch to start, for example. But
I mean, if
do
you
what.
want to, you certainly
Yeah, we're
can.
not going to stop you. We're not going to stop you.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Whatever benefits
make
each
use of what's
person's personal growth. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The whole point is to make something cool and to learn and to network with each other. So whatever feels good, go ahead and make use of it. So yeah.
And that's to kind of like just a small snippet is like I've seen people come in, maybe their background is programming, but they've always wanted to do, say, music or sound effects. And they said, I'm fine with programming, but I really want to focus on learning, you know, some sort of music program so I can get better at that. And they had a blast learning that. So I would kind of come into this like thinking about what you kind of want to get out of it. And maybe it is networking, maybe it's your first time, you just want to learn, the game development pipeline and get to know folks. Or maybe you are a seasoned veteran and you want to like learn how, to do a different tool asset, or you have something you've been working on and you want to kind of polish it up. And that's the other thing too, is we're going to have a theme, but you can kind of interpret that theme however you want. Um, and yeah, just have fun and be creative. Like I think this is your time to kind of shine and really mold this into the experience that you want. And yeah, so we should be pretty good there. So let me see. Yeah, all right. So I showed you the resource. Uh, and I showed you the itch.io page. So um, this should not be open for you guys, but I will double check with that. But essentially, you won't be able to submit your game until the what is it? Or no, sorry, I take that back. You can submit your project, but you can do it up till the end of January 7th at midnight.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a lot of
We
different
really
things going on.
recommend submitting, or like you create your itch.io page and you submit that. Once you do that, you can update it as much as you want until the end of the jam. And we
Right.
encourage everybody, it's a very good idea to race to get a playable build up as soon as you can, because then you can get people playing it out and providing feedback, and it basically gives the whole team something to rally around, because then everybody on the team can play the game all the time, and like you can just update it as often as you can, and just play it constantly, because that's the best way to see a project through, especially for like a longer period of time like this.
Yeah, and so I'll kind of go over some of that in the Discord channels of how to use those. That's not Jamio specific, but yeah. So we would definitely suggest uploading early, just because that process takes a sec to kind of learn. You don't want to do it, say, half hour, an hour before the time frame. But we can work with it. Like we can make things work if you have an
Yeah.
issue. Like we've been doing this for a long time, so
I think we
we can.
devoted like the whole final week of the jam to just like going through and making sure everybody has a road to submission, and
Yeah.
figure out what if anybody's blocked by anything, try to help them out.
Right. Yep. So, um, so yeah, cool. And actually, that kind of brings me to the next thing. Is I kind of wanted to showcase a little bit. Maybe I could even make this a bit bigger for you guys. Oh, maybe too big. I wanted to showcase the schedule. If you're looking for this, you can find it a couple different places. One is actually if you go to the itch page, I just put the schedule up here at the bottom. It also has all the streams and schedules going on throughout the month, so definitely check those out. Um, but once you click here, it'll take you to this schedule, which will be updated periodically. It's got a lot of resources here at the bottom, some quick things. It's got our hashtag, our email if you really need to get a hold of us, um, and Discord isn't working for you or whatever. So there's a lot of really good information here. But kind of gives you a vibe of like the cadence that you should consider. These are not by any means like an end-all be-all process, but it kind of gives you an idea like where you should probably be, which is actually a lot longer than most game jams. In our instance, usually, and this is not concrete or anything, but like you've got about a week to prototype. If you want to prototype the first couple of days and get into production, like making stuff, you can do that too. But at the top, you'll see a couple different tabs of each week. So usually if I'm like, okay, this is the first week through Thursday, I can get to the next one on the 15th. On that Friday, you can see that there's one more day of prototyping, and then it gets into production, right? So in here, we're going to be poking in. We've got our own staff schedule that has a lot more in here, but we're going to be poking in to check in on people in Discord usually, but we'll also kind of like check in, for, people on itch from periodically through emails and just time to time, just make sure everybody's got everything they need. But you'll notice here in purple, there's one session called a peer review session. So we had a lot of really good feedback in years past where we actually have locally to the Midwest, we have quite a few contacts through GDEX and Multivarious and other contacts of game development professionals that have agreed to take their time to kind of review your game progress. And so it's in Discord. We have a channel that we talk to, voice channel, and we just open it up for people to kind of showcase where they're at, and then we give some feedback. And a lot of people found it to be really useful as a way to kind of give like kind of a thermometer check of how they're doing and some things to keep in mind. And I found some really great like turnarounds of like feedback applied and some really great, games made because of that. So I highly suggest preparing your team, or if you're a soloist, like preparing yourself to present something that night, and we'll try to get through as many as we can. Just it's a great time to connect with folks, see what people are working on, and get some ideas of what to go to next. So we'll have peer reviews 3 times throughout this session. So once is on December 18th on a Monday from like 6 to 9 p.m. And that can change. Like if that changes, we'll update the schedule, but then we'll also let you know in Discord and whatnot. But we're trying to make that as available as possible. We're planning on doing a mid-jam production live stream of some sort. So we're trying to plan that out right now, but the idea would be to have like a stream, like a live stream of playing some of the games in progress. Just kind of keep that in mind. These are kind of like milestones to maybe consider. If you want to have something ready for that, that might be something we can work on, and that would be December 20th. And then the third week is a bit more Christmas, so we're trying to keep, the 24th, 25th, and 26th kind of more open. So we do know that people are going to kind of be on and off a little bit, but that's okay. Some people actually might have time, so do whatever fits best with you, right? That's kind of the repetition that we're kind of showcasing here. But you'll notice on the 27th, on a Wednesday night, 6 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, we have another peer review session. So again, right now we have, we'll probably have maybe between 5 to 10 different people like coming in to kind of talk to you guys if you want. It just depends on their availability. So we're kind of getting that out. And then the fourth week, pretty open. This would actually be a good time in production to kind of really get some things through. We may put something in here just for fun. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we'll just kind of playing it by ear. And then the last week is where it gets a little bit heavier, because this is when we start to wrap things up. So Friday is one of the last 3 days to get your game really, really squeaky clean for upload. Again, you can upload whenever you like, and just kind of get that ready, because you can upload and re-upload it again and overwrite it as much as you want, up through the end of January 7th, end of day. But you'll notice January 5th, Friday, from that's actually probably supposed to be 6 to 9 p.m., but that's my bad. Anyways, towards the end of the night on Friday, you'll have the third and last peer review session. And then you'll notice here on Sunday, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. So we will start to have people upload things throughout the middle of the day through, between 4 to 5. We'll start to ask people to start to upload. Now, again, you will have as much time as you need until midnight. So don't use this as like, oh, if we don't do that, then we're screwed. You're not. You have until end of night Eastern Standard Time to upload on Sunday. But after then, that's when the cutoff is. So be sure to kind of upload periodically and upload on Sunday, and you should be good to go. Then you'll notice that throughout, I thought I could select these. Throughout Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, January 8th through the 11th, we have our judging and voting session. So this is where you, if you are a jammer, which this will be important too if when you're uploading your game, make sure that you have an account on itch.io and that you're adding. We'll show you how to do this, but adding people on your team as a contributor, because everybody that is in our itch page will be allowed to vote on their game and other people's games and give them rating and feedback, all within itch.io. So they'll have their own game page when you upload, and so you'll give a rating, just like I mentioned before, on those 5 different categories. And then we'll also have curated judges coming in to judge alongside with you. People with a lot of game development experience, people who give you like really good feedback. We found this to be really helpful for folks, and that's kind of why we do this, is less about like who is the winner of the game jam, and more about, hey, give me some feedback. Like, what are things that are working well? What are things that I can change? And so that's what's really exciting about this. So we'll have a live stream on that Monday night. So 6 to 7, we'll see how that goes, like how long that goes. We have quite a few that we got to get through, so we're going to try to, get as many as we can through. So that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to do a big public live stream with that. And then Friday will be the last day we're going to get together internally, look at all the feedback, look at all the ratings, and nominate a Best in Show award ceremony for the best game of the Game Jam. So that'll be a lot of fun. The award ceremonies are really a great time to kind of see what everybody worked on and get some feedback and some final notes. And then that'll be a great way to start your year. So that's the skinny of our schedule. And let me see if I'm missing anything, because I know I talked a lot in the last little bit. Can I sleep? Yes, you can absolutely sleep. Please sleep. That's the other thing too. Don't kill yourself over this. We intentionally made this a month long, so you can do this as casually as you can.
Yeah.
Get sleep, get food, drink water.
There's a point at which you keep
Spend time with your
working.
families.
Yes,
Yeah, maybe.
yes, please spend time. If I
Show
find
your
out someone's
families
skipping out because of the game jam and they're
Show your families what you're working on. No, it's fine. It's like, yeah, you work, you kind of work a late enough night, and there's a point at which, your effectiveness doesn't just go to 0, but it actually gets negative, and you start creating problems. And then you come back the next day after not enough sleep, and you're like, oh wow, I went to bed with 3 problems, I woke up with 5 problems, and that's never fun. So yeah, get enough sleep, and keep your balance in your life, and take care of your real life first. The jam always comes after real life. So
Sure, and it's also worth mentioning, that this does happen frequently, but you don't have to stop working on your game once the jam ends. So if you
Right.
really like what you're doing and your team wants to keep working on it, feel free to take it and do something
Yep.
cool with it after the jam ends.
The itch page will be your teams to do with whatever you want. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, is that you will have, as to my understanding, so I always kind of like fall off a little bit when people are done with the jam. You'll have your game jam page for itch.io, and then you can always splice that off into your own page, where
Well,
you can like
it's
alter it.
actually
What's that?
well, it's actually that when once like you can submit your page and update your page as much as you want. When the submission window ends, the jam's copy of your page gets snapshotted. So any
Right.
further
Okay, so
updates,
I was right. Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It's
that's
just you
cool.
don't have to like do anything about it.
That's cool.
It'll just transition to that mode where any further updates are like on the game page, but they're not on the jam's version of the game page. And then I think it links to when you visit a jam page, it'll link to the current one, especially if there's any updates on it. It'll say, hey, there's, you know, the actual page has received updates over the jam. Like, so it's really cool what itch does with that. So I don't think Steam's trying to catch up on like hosting game jams in Steam. They might have something for it by now, but it's just been doing it for forever, so they got the formula down.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a pretty good job. I mean, so yeah, so that's the other thing, is this, a lot of people like to do game jams, and some of you actually might be here today because it's like a great way to kind of showcase a little bit of portfolio work. Like you worked on a project, you worked with the team, you worked on a game. So like use this as like, you know, work that you can showcase to folks if you're looking to get into the game industry or whatnot. Yeah, it's got a lot of benefits for sure.
You can never have too many portfolio pieces, and yeah, it's just fun.
Yep.
It's good momentum for the new year to stay
I'll,
creative and stay producing.
I'll also add, just because Tom and I and Katie were instructors and at college and stuff, and so some of our students are here, which is great. But it is finals week coming up, so if you need to take care of your schoolwork first and then hop on the game
Yeah,
jam bandwagon, feel free. And then also, if anybody does ask, you're free. I mean, you're all here listening now, but for, I guess, anyone in YouTube world that's watching this video later, you're free to join the jam after today's start date. So if you want to
Yes.
come in 3 days or 5 days or a week into the jam, so if anyone
yeah,
pops in, or if any of your friends are like, "Hey, this sounds cool. Is it too late to join?" Nope, you can
yeah.
join up until
It
the
could
end.
be January 5th. You can be like, I just
Yeah.
want to do a weekend jam. Like, jump in. Yeah,
Yeah, make
absolutely.
it a little challenging, but if that's what you want to do, go for it.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is like if you said, "Hey, I was here for the kickoff, but I can't start until after, Christmas or whatever." I can imagine people doing that, and that's perfectly fine. Because like making a good game isn't how much time you put into it necessarily. It's like a lot of different other factors. It's design, it's being conscious of like, the player and people working on it, what you're trying to, get across. So it's a lot of different aspects of it. And so that's where we're trying to get feedback, for you periodically. So like no matter where you are, we can, give you some, ideas of where your next step might be, right? So, but yeah, cool. Um, any other topics, non-Discord related from you two, or am I good to kind of move into that? Did I miss any questions
I mean,
in
all
the?
my topics are going to be pretty Discord related, but
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move into that because I know we want to get to the theme. So I'm going to go back into this Discord channel so people kind of see that. And
Why don't we do
yeah,
the introduce the theme and do any kind of like last general thoughts and questions, and then we can go into like more of the specific stuff that maybe Tom and you want to handle on Discord and stuff. Does that seem reasonable?
yeah, I think it's reasonable to do the theme first, and then people can be thinking about it while we're just going over
Yeah.
minutia that anybody could technically discover for themselves, like
As
Jamio and how to
as
do all
fun as
that.
the operational stuff is, I think
Yeah,
the
people
the,
are
the
here
theme
for.
is,
sure,
yeah, the theme is
Yeah,
what people are
sure.
itching for.
I
we've
guess, I
already killed
guess.
half the hour
But
here.
if you if you watch the theme and then dip out and don't know what's going on in the Discord,
And you can watch the recording, and you
then you
can
can
Yeah.
watch the
catch up
recording.
on.
Or you can ask us too. Like we're happy to help. Yeah, I kid,
Yes,
but
I'm more than happy to answer it 100 times
yeah.
over. Make a FAQ page on the Discord for people.
Right. Okay, well, let's go
So,
ahead
Wes, should we
and
drum roll this?
yeah. I actually do have a drum roll, so
Oh, okay, sweet.
let me switch over. So you guys ready? We're gonna do our theme. Wesley will personally come to your house and shame you. Maybe.
I don't
We'll
know if
see.
I should contribute to the drum roll here.
All right. Here we go.
I don't know how long this is going to be held for.
I always forget. It's giving.
Whoa.
Here we go. All
Whoa.
right. I hope that came through.
Like the
It's
holidays?
yes. So we wanted something to kind of represent a lot of not only what we've done, within our community, but also like something in the spirit of the season. So giving is going to be a great way, however you want to interpret that. If you want to interpret it as, a fetch quest, right? Or if you want to interpret it as like, presents or gifts, you can interpret it as an acronym. So if you want GIVING to represent something, if you want it to be, I don't know, like a small painting on the wall someplace. Whatever you want to do, be creative with it, okay? And the reason why I say that is because it is one of the themes. It's representation of themes, so just have fun with it. But if you come in and you're like, hey, I've got this really cool game idea, uh, and now I'm going to incorporate giving to that, you can make it you can make it your game, and I'm sure you can add giving in there in some way. At least that's kind of our goal, was to get something as broad and open as possible so that you can use that. So yes, so giving is our winter or GDEX Winter Game Jam theme, so use that as you like. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is jump, like I said, back into the Discord portions of it. And actually, I'm going to go and use my Discord because it's got a couple more channels after registration to showcase. So please do stay if you can to look at that. But if you want to start talking amongst yourselves, feel free to do that. We're going to go over the Discord, and then afterwards we're going to start to help you set up teams. Some of you already have some of that set up, so we're going to go over that here in just a little bit after we're done with this stream. And if nothing else, have a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for kind of staying around, and then if you want to stick around to talk a bit about how to use the Discord to your advantage and how to use Jamio for your game, stick around and we'll show you how to do that. So let me go ahead and switch over to that.
First, Wes, would you be able to cut over to the Discord real fast? Because
yeah.
on the note about not leaving, I do have to leave. So
okay, let me switch.
Just to the video real fast.
Oh, it's trying to make me... Hold on. There we go. And full screen and switch. Bait and switch. There we go. All right, so we're live.
People can
got
see
baby
us now. Yep, that's baby. So again, I want to thank you all for being a part of the jam. I look forward to seeing your stuff. I unfortunately do have to leave, but I will be on Discord with Wes, Tom, and Katie throughout the event. I mean, this is what we do for a living. We make games, so we're always on Discord and stuff. But super excited to have you. We hope you have a wonderful time. And if I don't end up talking to you for whatever reason, have a great holiday season. So with that, I'm going to head off. Wes and Tom, thank you very much. And I will see you all later.
All right. Cool. Now that the cool people are hanging out, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Just
so
kidding. What?
I'm going to reveal a little bit behind the curtain. So that was kind of like our full screen view. So if you're in Discord, there's going to be a lot more stuff that you're going to see in here than you normally would. There's some admin channels. So I'm going to focus in on what we're working on. So a lot of the stuff at the top you're not going to need to worry about too much. I mean, you can do an introductions channel. I've seen a lot of people go in here and kind of showcase their background. This is great. Like, we love this. So definitely, if you want to do a short introductions about yourself, this is a great way to post that. But as you scroll down, you can see right below that is the GDEX support. You can definitely post in here. So if you have anything you want to post, we're looking in here quite a bit. But the main thing is going down here to mainly two different, what they're called, categories. So this jammer space. This is like for all the game jams that could happen at GDEX. They all kind of end up here. Really, what I'd like you to focus in on here is this Any Jam README channel. We will update this periodically, but for the most part, this kind of goes over a lot of what we've already talked about. It has the links to the web page. It has the itch.io page. It has like how to register, all the different stream links, the schedule, who to contact, all that good stuff. And we'll kind of add things as we need to. So one of the things is like the game rules. We had that posted. We have a bot in here called Pina. And basically, if you use the emojicon, the push pin emoticon, excuse me, it's like tongue twister. You can pin any message to your channel. So if, like I looked up here at the top right, there's this little pin icon. I can find this message about this pin, right? And I can go back to it, which is a great way to create these shortcuts if you have a lot of conversations. So I highly suggest using that. If you can't get that to work, let me know. That's a bot I've helped to kind of bring in. That's really
Each
useful.
team can also make threads in their channel if they want.
Yes.
And then of course, if you just want another channel in your little group, we can do that too.
Right. We can customize it to how you want it. Now, in general, Jamio will be able to do pretty much anything you want, but like if it's a very specific thing, like we're happy to help.
Almost
Jamio,
anything you can ask us to do is either something Jamio does now or that we want it to do. So
right. Yep, exactly. So if you want to do a thread, you can roll over a message that you already created, and it basically creates a category under that. And you'll see on the right side, there's a couple icons. And actually, these updated recently. So there's a create thread, and so I can say, hello, more here. And you'll notice it creates like a little line to a thread of different messages. So if you're talking about one specific thing, and you're really getting into it, like it's the programming or it's the character that you guys are wanting to go over, you can make a thread and talk just about that all day long. And so feel free to use that. If you can't use threads for some reason, let us know. That might be a permissions thing. But I think we should, be able to have everybody do that.
it'll work.
So we should be
I think it'll work.
good.
Jamio should be explicitly letting the team members make public and private threads, so
Right.
it should work. If it doesn't work, let us know. We will make it work.
So a couple other things. Roles are coming. So this is a little information, but we actually have, and I'll kind of go back down here. I'll let Tom talk about roles. But that's coming very soon, if not already ready. But that's that section here. There's Jamio assets. So these are just images of Jamio. If for some reason, just for fun, you want to add Jamio to your game, we've had people do it as a Jamio as a cameo. So feel free to download that if you want, and you can add it to your game. You don't have to by any means. It's just a fun thing to do. And then when it comes to that last day that you got to upload things, we wanted to give you guys a resource of how to upload your games to Itch.io. These two videos show you how to upload the game as well as add contributors, so definitely take a look at that if you're trying to figure that part out, and we'll help you along the way as well. So that's the README channel. There's another public channel if you just want to chat there. We would actually suggest if you're chatting about the Winter Game Jam to chat down here under public chat, the one with the blue world icon. That's where most people will be, but you can chat anywhere you want.
Right. The difference is like, yeah, the public chat with the world, people potentially outside the jam can see it. So
Yeah.
like if your game page is up on itch, like you can set it to be public and you can post in the public chat like, hey, we need testers. It doesn't even matter if you're in the jam. You can like try to recruit like just play testers, tell people about your game, advertise it to the world. And then the jammer chat with the house is like only people who are registered. So
Right.
if you just want to ask for help from people who are definitely in the jam, like, or just, for whatever reason, you just feel like what you want to talk about is more specific to just the jam group, you can use the house channel.
Yeah. Yep. So use those as you like. There's also the same reciprocal to the voice channels, the one with the little mic icon. That's kind of like where Tom and I are right now. We're in a voice channel speaking with you. So if you're not familiar with Discord, there's usually two types of channels. One is a text channel with the hashtag. One is a voice channel with the mic icon. You can also, if I were to go back into the admin voice, at the top right, if you want to chat in a voice channel, at the top right, there's a chat channel. So we kind of talk in here sometimes doing testing stuff. However you want to do it, it's up to you. I know this can be a lot of information for you at first. I would just kind of figure out what works for you and just kind of stay to that and maybe learn as you go if this is your first time using Discord. But if you have any questions at all, let Tom and I know. We're very familiar with Discord, so we're happy to kind of give you information that you might need.
That's right, and I'll be working on Jamio throughout the jam, and
Yes.
it's been doing really well. But I'm hoping to get some exciting new features out, among which are like integration with the itch jam page and like basically facilitating submissions and helping remind teams what is needed for submissions. So it'll be in active development. I've got a little, if you can find it, it's if you can look for it, it's in the public or thing in the jammer chat with the house. But I made a thread where I'm just talking about Jamio and I'm kind of like keeping track of any bugs that the jammers find, like, and report to me so that if people are interested in like the tool itself and they just want to see like what's going on day by day, I'll be posting in there and kind of just where I'm hanging out as I work out any problems I find or continue to implement new features and things. So be right
Yes.
there watching over you as much as I can be.
So yeah, definitely let us know if you do have any questions, and we will work on them ASAP with Jamio. If you see a bug or anything, we've actually kind of squashed a couple things here and there, so we'll be sure to kind of get that ready to go. Um, we have the AnyJam resources channel. I post stuff in here, but if you have a resource like you found a really cool game engine or a really cool tool, feel free to post it in here. This becomes a nice pool of information that people kind of add to. So definitely you can check that out if you're looking for a tool to use. Um, there is, uh, this is a great place if you want to share your game with Game Jam. So this can be during the event. It could also be during after the event. So I've seen people post stuff after the event. So if you want to share progress publicly, this is a great way to post it. And then as soon as everybody's done with the Game Jam, uh, you guys will be entered into one of these channels, or I guess two out of one of these channels. So there's alumni channel that we always like to carry people over, and you guys can chat throughout the year and even work here if you want. You're more than welcome to. That's mostly this category. We've got some public streams, so if you guys, wanted to kind of like talk with people, especially if it's even with people outside of the game jam and they're not registered and they may not see these channels, you could kind of go through some of these channels as well. There's private streams, so I think Tom, is that private to just registered jammers, the private voice channels?
Those are hold on, let me see what you're looking at. Those are probably not part of the if they don't have those are just legacy from past.
Okay, we may remove those at some point. But if you do
Yeah.
need to talk, like, you should have the public voice channel here and the jammer voice. So those would be two great places to do. And if we need more
Yeah,
channels,
usually Jammer voice is open, and yeah,
yeah,
we can make another voice channel if people are actually like streaming their work in Jammer voice or just
right.
hanging out. Like we need a private place to chat. We can always spin one up real fast, and
Yep,
or your team, or if you're a solo jammer, you'll have your solo jammer voice chat. So anywhere you need help, just ping us, and we can hop in the nearest voice chat and work with you,
cool.
or just type it out.
So we got that. And I guess what I would do, Tom, is just tell me where to click, and we can go over the Winter Game Jam category. So this is our game jam. This is what Jamio actually made at the inception of the
Mhm.
event, um, and created all these channels from here to the bottom below. So I'm going to let
Yep.
Tom talk about this because he is the father of Jamio in a sense.
So to
And
speak, yeah. So yeah,
some of
I'll just
these,
like use your screen as a guide for what I'm talking about. There might be a little delay, but that's okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so and there's a lot of these channels you won't see as a jammer. So
right.
some of them are
So
going to be mod only,
I say
like
these top
at
two.
audit. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Jamio is keeping track of all the comings and goings and activity of the jam, and so if anything happens or there's a question or somebody's like, "Oh, I registered, but my data's gone," we can always peek into the audit log and just see what happened. It's
Well,
not
and
it's not it's not logging like chatting or anything. It's just like when you use a command in the jam, it'll report those kinds of things. So just if you make a team or if you join a team or whatnot.
yeah, so this is
Um,
like not important for you guys, but if you are interested in using Jamio in your Discord
right,
server, this
right,
is great because like the goal of Jamio is to kind of take as much work off of the organizers as possible because it can be a lot of work. But what this does is it kind of gives you a plain like data spill of information that you can look at to see what Jamio is doing. Um, Same thing with like the mod channel in some instance. And what it does is allow you to kind of take that information and decide what to do with it. Um, so
right, right.
under the hood,
Just
you
like
won't see that, but for if you are a moderator, it can be really helpful if you're trying to track to see, what might have
right,
happened.
just like there's the mod commands right underneath that, which is another uh channel that only the organizers see, and it's another place to use Jamio commands and to see a little more context about the roster. So like the registration channel where you do commands as a jammer, also has the roster of all of the teams and
Oh, is it you're talking about this
you,
Jamio admin?
yeah, you can click into the registration channel real quick.
Oh, here. Yep.
They're not. Well, yeah, okay, we can talk about that. Yeah, that up there is just because when you add Jamio to your server, you won't have a jam at first. So those channels are there to oversee across multiple jams. So
Oh, you're
they're
talking about
they
here, right?
yeah. What you
Sorry.
got your mouse pointed at? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
was trying to
Admin.
talk about the registration channel. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
like
these are
there's
different. These are different. You'll see some things that you guys won't have access to, but
right.
if you are an organizer, there's a couple more admin tools
Right.
you can use. So if you get to the
Right,
point
just
where you're,
standing over top of multiple jams, or just like, yeah, allow you to create the jam in the first place. Because when you first invite it, it's it's waiting for you to tell it that there's gonna be a jam and what the jam should be called and all that stuff.
yep. So
But yeah, you can go ahead and go back to the jam section and go to the registration.
yep.
Um,
So this is where you register. This is what we are talking about before. So if you haven't yet and you're on the stream and plan on
mhm.
participating, definitely go into this channel and
Yeah, you'll
just
see
type in
this.
register into the text
Yeah.
channel, and then Jamio should work with you to get you
Definitely has
registered.
a lot of front-loaded information. It's basically all the commands that you can do as a user. And if you type help, it'll basically give you additional information. But the channel itself is like a conversation space. So Jamio doesn't work with prefixes or like specific command syntax. It just creates a space where that's where you're expected to do commands at. So if you scroll to the bottom, like maybe scroll slow, we can go over everything. So at the top, there's just like
Oh, sorry.
introduction and command descriptions. Then you scroll through the roster. It shows who's got not at I think we went over this, but it shows who still needs to be added to a team or to create a solo team for themselves. And then it starts going through each of the teams.
So
And
each
as
one
the
of these
teams,
sections is a team, and they do have a couple different categories like
Mhm.
icons, colors, submissions. I think somebody was asking. I think we should be able to do this. Someone was saying like, "Oh, I think they said NG, so I'm assuming that's Newgrounds." Yeah, can I submit there? I'm like, well, if you can submit on Itch.io, that's the big one because we got to be able to rate there. But if you somehow put the link on Itch.io to Newgrounds, I feel like that still should be fine, as long as they know where to find it. You know what I mean? But that's the great
yeah,
thing about Jamio is that this is meant to be kind of a little bit of an ambiguous URL. So that's a great way if, later down the line, if we ever do a different game jam somewhere else, like Game Jolt or someone said Newgrounds, we could talk
right,
about that stuff later, but that could be the
yeah.
cool thing too.
When you go to submit, well, in the next week or so, I'm gonna re-enable the itch integration so that when you go to submit, it'll suggest that you submit an itch URL, but it'll let you put in any URL you want. So just because just for flexibility's sake, and then um, yeah, we could do we don't really have control over where people might choose to host their jams, so we try to make a flexible tool where certain sites like itch we plan to have some integration for, and then outside of that it's all just going to be raw URLs and whatnot. So yeah, so each team gets their own section, and once you submit a URL, then the game will be part of that. So each team's game will basically get an embedded post as part of that message. So the channel becomes a gallery of all the submissions and a little credit of who's on each team. Um, and now you can do some fun things like set what your team color is, which I think we gotta probably rearrange our skill roles in the server to make sure that the skill roles themselves are like underneath the teams.
Yeah.
That way the team colors can come through and people can be their team color. But it's because we have the skill roles. Once it's fully working, will also be appearing in your nickname. So
Yeah, if you'll
people
kind of
will
see here on the right side, some people have green, some people have blue. Those are
Yeah, those
based
are
on different roles that people have. Um, so,
right, right.
I mean, I could look at mine, but if I go to my roles, I have a lot of different things. As an admin, I can only get
Yeah.
access to this. But you'll see that as we go through, there's a lot of different roles that people get assigned. The bottom being the lowest role, the top being the highest, like moderators. And in here, depending on different hierarchies, different things can be seen, like on your name. Um, and so these are things to consider just to kind of make yourself unique, but you don't have to have these things to participate if it doesn't work out. But we encourage you to try them and just see if they are useful for you. Um, and I think, is the icon something that gets a pin to their name, or is that just for fun for their
The
team?
icon cannot get a pen to their name because it's basically the only things that can go into like channel and role names are like Unicode characters, and the icons are like custom emoji. They're not Unicode, so they will exist. You can use them, so you can just use them as an emoji. You can use them as a reaction, but I don't believe they can go into names like the standard emojis can. So we
Okay.
use standard emojis for the skill roles. That way we can stick them in the username, and you just get, regardless of the color of your name, you'll have the skill role as part of your name during the jam at least. And that helps us just identify at a glance what the team compositions are, so that we don't end up accidentally, throwing a team with nothing but coders and another team with nothing but artists, and both of them are like feel a subtle loss, a hole. Um, I actually just moved. I'm gonna try to keep the jam skill rolls at the bottom so that the team colors will always take precedence over them.
I was
So
gonna say that probably changed
have
over
fun
here.
with that.
Um, can you talk about what locked means
Yeah.
on a
So
team?
locked is so there when a team creates itself, teams are very basically democratic, or that is, or actually it's more like a dictatorship where everybody is an equal dictator. So once you're in a team, everybody on the team has equal powers on the team, and one of the commands is called open and close. So when you create a team, by default it starts open, which means you're accepting new team members, because most of the time when you make the team to begin with, it just starts with the person who made it. So if your team is happy with your composition, and if you're not if you don't want anybody else on your team, like for whatever reason, either you're already big enough, and we try to suggest teams don't get larger than 5 or 6 people, then you can close your team for that reason. Or if it's just you and some friends, and we want to encourage teams to be open to accepting an additional like person that you may not already be familiar with, just so we can get some kind of community built up and give more people a chance to like work on interesting projects. But we're not going to force anybody to do that. So if your team knows that you don't want any more members in your team, then you can essentially close the team, and then it but we will just see that in the roster. We'll see that the team is locked, that they're not accepting new members, and we are in the works. We have some matchmaking commands that are only working on a side branch right now, so I haven't gotten them out to the production Jamio yet. But essentially, we have suggestion commands that would, if you just joined as a new jammer, you could say suggest team, and if this was in, then Jamio would look at the roster and look at the skill rules you've already set for yourself, and just come up with a random suggestion that's trying to funnel you towards smaller open teams, or teams that lack the skill rule that you have, but are essentially random suggestions. So you can just keep re-rolling until you get a suggestion you're happy with. And our intention is probably for the next GDEX Game Jam. I think it'll definitely be ready by then. But to just have this kickoff event, have like a match make ritual where Jamio will have a command to chain up these suggestions and essentially cover everybody in the jam. So that way it just takes all of the randomizing, because we're basically going to be doing that process ourselves. We're going to be finding people who want to be on a team, looking at their skills, looking at the existing teams, and just kind of making reasonable suggestions. And so this is just something that we've always been building Jamio towards that goal of just being able to kick off the jam and have everybody get sorted into random teams and have that be compatible with people starting their own teams ahead of time. So just to be able to start the jam with maybe we have like a dozen or so teams. Actually, I think we have we have 11 multi-person teams that are, some of them are closed, but that's like 9 or so teams that would potentially accept new users. So you could take that and the 37 teamless jammers and just run matchmake and have it, make new groups and kind of fill out the existing groups until all the teams are like within the same thresholds of numbers and all the skill rolls are relatively balanced. So that's like the long-term plan, but we're just going to be doing parts of this manually tonight. So
yeah, I was
it is
gonna
what it is.
say for tonight, what you can do, and some of you already done this, you can use the join and leave command, or excuse me, you can use the create command to make a team. You can also, and a team is in a sense like more than one person. A solo team is going to be more like, kind of like what you see down here. After these team categories, you'll see the whole solo team. And if I go down here, you'll see the solo category. We try to pull them into the same category because that allows them to kind of see each other and not just kind of work in a silo. You have your own voice channel, you have your own text channel, and then below that you'll start to see the different teams. And they always get a text channel and a voice channel to work in. Now, like we were saying before, if you want more than that, or if you want some things changed, we can definitely help you with that. So let us know. But out of the box, this is kind of what you'll get once you use the create command or the solo command. And sorry, I'm getting a little bit moved around a bit. Okay, but the other thing is once you've registered, you're automatically added to this team list. So that means that we're going to work with you guys specifically tonight to make sure you get together with the team. So we're going to be working and probably do something like we'll go into probably the public, or I guess if you guys are in here, we can do the jammer voice channel. It doesn't matter. But we're going to jump in here. We're going to help each other out. We're going to talk to each person individually. And our goal is based on your background. We're going to assign you guys some groups. Now, if you are looking to pair up with other people, that is a-okay. Again, this is very flexible. So if you've got 2 or 3 or however many people you already want to do stuff, I mean, heck, that's already a team right there. You could start. But if you're not sure who to work with, we're going to help you out. What could also be helpful for us so that we understand that, just like we can see that some of these teams are locked, that helps us know that maybe you're not accepting more members. If we see groups that are, like this one right here, has one person, maybe they want to have more people in their group. Maybe we can get some folks in there, so we'll kind of talk with them.
Right.
So it gives
There's
us
actually 2
information.
options there, yeah, because I saw there was another group that was locked at one person, I think Wizard Gang, and there's actually, if you use the solo command, I believe it will, if you have a team where it's just you and you use the solo command, it'll actually offer like, hey, are you trying to like change your team into being a solo team? Because you can still name your solo team whatever you want to. It's a solo team has all the same features of a real team. You get an icon, you get a color, but it just kind of is more compressed. Because there's no need to have like a bulleted members list because it's just one person.
Yeah.
So we can kind of show it in a condensed format at the bottom. That's what I would suggest to, like, if somebody jumped in and they made a team and they knew they wanted to work alone, they can use the solo team to like convert their multi-person team to like an actual solo team. And I haven't tried that in a while, so maybe it's bugged. So give it a try for me and let me know if it works. That'd be great.
Yeah, I was
Not,
gonna
not
say.
you, Wes, but like the hypothetical listener who.
Here, I'm gonna. Ooh.
I'm almost actually Jamio's almost ready to actually listen for these reactions. So
Yeah.
it's hard to do this while we're on the stream, but you are buying me almost enough time to get this working.
Well, while you're working on that, I kind of talk about a couple other things. You'll notice that um, there's an alias section to some of these commands. These are just a shorthand. So LFT or LFG is looking for group. You can type that in as well. It does the same thing as typing in the whole words looking for group. Um, if you are typing in a name for a team you're looking for, so Jamio might be saying, what team are you talking about? You can shorthand that. Actually, we probably suggest you do
You
that.
actually, yeah, you have to. You
You
have
have
to
to do that?
shorthand
Okay, so
it.
that's
Yeah, if
a
you type the full, yeah, it's such a low priority,
so
but yeah, if you type the entire team name, it'll like be
for,
like, oh, it can't find it. You just type anything less than the entire team name, and it'll find it just like
for
that.
example, if you were wanting to get information about Mine Full of Bacon, um, and Jamio says, what team do you want more information about? You can just type in mind and
Or
or even M, and it'll give
DAC,
you like any team with the
yeah,
M in there.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Any piece of the name
you'll
works.
type in like a number of which team you want to associate that with what it's asking you.
Yeah, if your search was ambiguous. So if you
Right.
search for something that more than one team has that in their name, it'll be like, did you mean one, two, or three?
We've
So then,
and we've mostly been successful with most names for your teams. We even had like emoticons. Like one year, somebody did
mhm,
like two emoticon symbols. So let us know if you want something specific. We can do most anything that Discord can do. So that should be pretty good. So there's looking for group. This is great, especially as the weeks go by or days go by. If you're still looking for a group, that's going to let us know that we need to help you and start talking with folks. So like you'll see that down here at the bottom, a group of people looking, and these are kind of really the same people probably up here, most likely the teamless jammers. So our goal is to get this and that group down there as as to zero as possible tonight.
right,
But we can definitely like adjust those things as we go, because people might be joining and all that good stuff.
right. That's the thing is like if somebody joins next week, then they'll show up on the jam as a teamless jammer, and we'll see them. Or if somebody's having a bad experience with a team and wants to leave and find a different team, like more than welcome to. In fact, that's encouraged to do that so that you don't foster any toxicity or negative feelings. Like if you feel like you're not going to have fun with the team you're in, there's absolutely completely fine to just say, hey, I'm gonna move on, and nothing is final, and we want everybody to have a good time. So like everybody should
Yeah, that's a good point. We've had that a couple different times where folks get into a group, they're like, that's not really just what I'm looking for, or maybe like they have a lot more of one resource, and you feel like maybe you could use your resource somewhere else. I mean, even when we were doing game jams on site, like with Global Game Jam, like it's common to move through teams, and especially since you have like a month to do this, don't feel like, oh, I'm wasting my time or whatever. Like, no, you got plenty of time. So like, if you want to move
yeah,
around,
exactly,
you're more than welcome to. And we'll talk about
right,
roles too to kind of like showcase what that means. Um,
yeah.
but
I'll
that's good.
try to encourage people to just make those kinds of stuff. Later on you do it, the less time you have to
Yes.
acclimate with another group. So we want this first week to be planning and just vibe checks all
Yeah.
around, and
Or it
yeah,
could even
so
be like time zones or work schedules or availability. Like
right,
there's a lot of
just
different factors.
establishing how you want to communicate with each other, what's acceptable when you're busy. You can pin in your channel like a little schedule for everybody, and people can update it if they need to, or
Yeah.
which days you're going to be away for the holidays. And that's like the first step. Once you establish like ideally, like a good thing to do is establish like at least one weekly meeting with your team to just touch base and see how things are going. And what if you do that and you have a central document somewhere with your game idea where you keep track of what's working and what is not yet working, what's planned, and you can kind of like have like a bullet list of everything you want your game to do, and you kind of green it out or make it yellow when you start working on it and make it green when it's like working in the game, then you can just sort of asynchronously, it's pretty easy to not have to check with your team over every little thing, but just to work on the game and get your changes to the rest of the team. We'll talk about like version control or what other options are out there for the teams to work on the same game project in a synchronized way. We've had all kinds of different team choices on that front, from Git or like any other version control software like Tortoise HG or uh, whatever you got, all the way to just we've seen teams just have a Google Drive where they just put all the files of the project and they just tell each other when they mess with it, and that's kind of risky. We really recommend like actual source control, like whatever the team is comfortable learning. It usually doesn't take that much to learn it, but being able to have each commit, like each change set that you make, be kind of saved in history and like checkpointed, so that if things go wrong or you hit a dead end, you can always step back into the past when things were working and you can kind of fix it from there. That's just super valuable. It's gonna prevent so much heartache or like lost work time.
Well, and that's the thing too. I don't know if we need to get too far into the
We're
nitty
not
gritty,
gonna get
but
too far into it, yeah,
but
but that's just something the team should talk with each other about. All right, when do we meet? When are people available? And how are we going to share the game with each other? So there's lots of options, and each team should pick the option that's right for them.
yeah, yeah. So, and we'll be around. So like I forget. Like maybe we'll be in the public voice channel or Jammer voice channel after we get people lined up. So you can always jump in there and we can help you out. I mean, we're going to be jumping around too. But if we're like seeing everybody's doing good, we'll be hanging out in these channels. You can always jump in and talk to us. And if it's something, a specific question like how do I do this, or how can I get someone else into another team, and that could be something else too. Is you might have a team and you might be looking for a jammer, so you might be looking for a resource. That's going to be a great way to see that. So once you have some of those, again, the uh, the looking for team is going to show up here. And then if you're looking for a jammer, that's going to show up in this list, right, Tom? Yeah. So we don't have anything
Yeah,
yet, but
it's
soon
gonna
that will.
yeah, no, nobody said that. Yeah, no, if a team says they're looking for a jammer, it'll show up in that list.
And
It'll also post in the I think the role assigned channel or the public channel, but it'll make a post in a different channel where people are able to actually talk.
yeah,
Because the thing is, you can't talk in this roster channel because Jamio will think you're trying to have a conversation, and it wants to keep the channel down to just the information. So it's supposed to be just a place to see all the information in one place and to do commands. So Jamio will update that list in there, but it'll also post in a different channel where people can chat about it, or you can use that as a jumping off point to have a conversation about what you're looking for.
yeah, and that's what's going to be great is if you're looking for specifically like for an artist or a musician or a voice talent person, what that's going to do is not only tell other people in the jam about that, if you're using the looking for jammer resource command, it lets us know too. So we can be like, cool, let's get on the lookout to see if anybody has that. So that kind of leads me into my next thing because I think we've kind of went through all of this as best we can. It definitely, if you have more questions about the registration channel, let us know. But I kind of want to go a bit into the role assignment, even if it's maybe not ready yet. But
It's mostly ready. Like it's ready enough where
we could
we
talk
can
about the
kind of
context of it.
kick it through, right?
So right now, usually what happens is what we try to do is when we're forming a team, we try to get people into one of three different categories, and you obviously could, very well share these types of backgrounds and skill sets, but we try to get people into what's called a technical role, a creative role, or a producer role. So a technical role would be a programmer, technical problem solver. Some people are, just more technical savvy. They can kind of pick things up and maybe even build a system or use a system pretty quickly and learn it. Creative would be anybody in 2D, 3D art, music, audio, maybe even a writer. Voiceover could be in here as well. Uh, a producer is really kind of anybody else. They're kind of more the game design aspect of the game development pipeline. So if you don't have a role, by default, you're definitely at least a producer. So it's everyone else. It's team leads, it's a brainstormer, it's people that do design. So you might go in and need to kind of concept out like a level, or you might need to write the stats or like the gameplay mechanics of the first person moving through a 2D world, right? Or excuse me, the main character moving through a 2D world. So
I want to play a first-person game in a 2D world. That sounds
doesn't sound
great.
possible. Um, but yeah, so when you get these roles, when this starts working, you'll notice some people have it from years past. Um, our goal is to have Jamio periodically update your name with that. So when you look through the list, you'll see like, okay, Katie has a creative role. They have like this producer role, and then there's also like a lifesaver role. So you'll see these kind of get appended to your name. That way, it's easy to kind of see who has what, and then you can kind of identify that. You can obviously change those, and what those will do when they do work is you'll basically just click on or off these emoticons, and they will get eventually assigned to your role once we get that working. So we'll keep you posted about that. And then the last two are kind of ones that we found to be useful um, for different reasons. So the maybe later role means that their time is limited. So you might see some people with the hourglass symbol, and that means like, oh, I only have like, this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for this game jam. So my time is limited. I'd love to help, but I can only help during these times. So they might be a great person to talk to for a specific thing. So maybe you want to get everything done by that day so they can do X, Y, and Z. The floater role is someone who they have a lot of different ways. A lot of people can kind of use this in many different ways, but what we've seen in the past is some people may have a specific role, like maybe they just want to do music. So music isn't necessarily always like at the beginning of a game jam. They're obviously more than welcome to be part of the brainstorming process. Actually, we highly encourage that, so they kind of know what we're working on. But they might say, okay, I want to be a resource for other different teams, right? And so they might be assigned that, and we would work with them to kind of get them like access and role rights to be able to do that kind of stuff. Um, but the goal would be that they can use their resources throughout different teams and help folks. The one thing we would say about this role is just I would suggest just for like ease of like not being not making it too complex is try to have a home base, so to speak. So have like a team that you're kind of always going back to and checking in on them and making sure they have what they need. And then like if they're good, then yeah, like as a floater you float from one team to the next and help them out. I've seen people help soloists, say if they're doing music. Somebody was talking about being kind of like kind of
An
someone that can
old
kind of help
wizard.
advise. They might.
I believe they referred to themselves as an old wizard.
Yes, they have a lot of game development experience. Which kind of leads me to my next note too. In the background, I'm actually kind of recruiting. We have some contacts already, but I'm kind of recruiting folks who aren't necessarily interested in jamming, but want to help with this game jam as a game development professional. If that sounds like you, let me know. We're creating a list. It's those peer reviews and judging sessions that we had on the schedule calendar. Um, and
I
I'm
want a
getting a list
scheduling
of folks
candle.
to kind of get into the Discord and help each other out. So if that sounds like you, let me know, and I'm happy to kind of get you guys on a list. I have like a spreadsheet that I'm working up and getting people scheduled to kind of come in. And the goal is that as we have these peer reviews throughout the month, we will announce that to everybody in the jam and say, okay, like this Thursday night at 6, make sure you're here and with your game, and we'll have you showcase it to some game development professionals, people working in the industry. So it's been really great. So let us know that as well. We're happy to kind of coordinate that in the back end. Um, so yeah, so we'll get this through, and maybe we even have some other roles as they kind of come through. What I would suggest is if you have something that you want a suggestion to, obviously you can just post it in the public chat, or you can post it in the Jammer chat, and yeah, obviously just ping us because like we're always open to hearing your feedback. Like we're trying to make not only this game jam better, we're trying to make Jamio better. And so any way we can make this a better experience for you, please let us know. That's what we're here for. So yeah, we're definitely looking to kind of make sure all that's good to go. Um, I'm trying to see. I know it's very long-winded. Trying to see if anybody else had any questions. Uh,
Whole long-winded West. That's what they call you.
yes. So we'll get you posted once this is up and running. But I think, unless I'm missing anything, Tom, I kind of wanted to go over the next steps after this call. Do you think I missed anything Jamio-wise, or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, like the next steps are just, you know, get all the teamless jammers teamed up, and it's gonna be somewhat manual, but we are gonna the skill rolls are ready to react to, but I'm probably gonna be pushing a change that'll like get Jamio to do it more automatically. When I do that, we'll just probably need everybody to like uncheck it and then recheck it, and then that'll like get it through. And
Yeah.
then so yeah, like with if we're helping people get to teams and you don't have a role, that's probably the first thing we're gonna say is like, hey, go give yourself a role. That way we can try to place you as best as we can. And don't you don't need to overthink it. It's kind of a matter of you don't need to pick the role you're like physically best at if you want to do something else as your focus. This
Yeah.
like if you're a programmer who wants to try your hand at art or vice versa, like we encourage that kind of thing. So pick the role that you want to perform. Um, and I think for most people that's probably going to line up with the role that they're good at, but not always. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just want
And
to
it's again
and
flexible, and it's not
yeah,
permanent. You can
and,
always
and you're free
change
to
it.
pick multiple. Like if you're like
Yeah.
I'm a all-in-one shop, I can make my own art and my own code, and I can plan and implement everything. Oh, sweet, me too. Like just give yourself every every role and
Yep.
be like, yeah, like that. That just tells us like, okay, it might be good to not pair such like because we want to make sure not only the skills get distributed but also like the general level of experience, and we don't have as much of a firm like system for like level of experience, but it's something we're interested in trying to quantify. And so but yeah, like if you give yourself every role or something, then we're just gonna probably take that to mean you're very experienced. And we want to make sure we don't lump a bunch of experienced people together and then all the other teams are just like pure newbies. We want a good balance of skills and experience, and that's not easy to do. So we appreciate everybody working with us and being patient while we try to do the best we can to deal with the biggest jam we've ever had, and it's
Yeah.
really exciting.
And it's kind of like what they say. We'll be here all night, so to speak. So,
Yeah,
at least to kind of get you guys in a good spot.
you might be eating off camera while we help
Yeah,
you.
I got a pizza that's been looking at me.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
so yeah, so let's talk about that, and we'll kind of wrap up. Just if you have any questions before, like I'm gonna talk about our next steps, just feel free to post them in the YouTube chat. If I missed anything, I know there's a lot of conversations, over a lot of really exciting stuff. Um, but what we'll do now, if it sounds good to you, Tom, I think we'll jump into the public Game Jam voice channel, and that way, if like especially if someone hasn't, um,
Right, they'll be able to talk to us
registered or
live.
whatever, yeah,
Right.
we'll uh, we'll make sure they can still talk. But our goal is to get everybody together, and we're going to kind of go one by one. In this instance, since the roles aren't set up, and we'll kind of write down what everybody's like background is. We'll start off with like, especially just if people are, for example, knowing that they just want to be a soloist, they want to know how to do that. We can kind of help them out with that portion, and then like one by one, Tom and I will kind of help each other like make and forth some teams and make sure people feel comfortable in that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Jacob
Yeah.
said if for the
So
teams who want to find out jammers, should we join the voice chat tonight to find people? Yeah, that actually would be a good idea. If you are part of a team, and you're looking for other jammers, yeah, please do join us tonight because we could definitely add more people to your team. So that's a good question.
yeah, we
Um,
want to be, we don't want to quite necessarily be first come, first served. We want to try to spread people out
Sure.
and
Actually,
but
I
yeah,
have
definitely
I want
get
to ask
in.
a quick question. If I
Oh,
can
what's
do
up?
that.
Oh,
All
someone
right.
else
Yeah,
is in here.
Hey, it's
Hi.
me. I didn't want to type. I'm special.
You're fine.
Um, is it possible to be like a hello floater
yeah,
artist to
You mean
like
like a low
not
grade
join?
floater to a high grade floater?
Well, I mean, like I don't really want to join a team, but I'm also interested in just kind of being like a
yeah,
little
like
art shop on the side, if
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
absolutely.
okay.
But
Yeah,
I was looking through these channels and I don't even really know how to advertise that. Like I don't even know if I can talk offline with you guys about this. But
No,
no,
like,
no, that's
this is a
fine.
good topic because a
We have
lot of
other
people are
people who
asking.
have, yeah, we have other people who are interested in that kind of a role.
should we set up a channel in the Winter Game Jam section that's just like floater services maybe, and people can advertise like what they're offering, and it can just kind of be like a first. I don't know,
Yeah, we can do something like that.
because
That's
like I wouldn't
yeah, that may be a
be
good
interested
idea.
in drawing assets and stuff for people kind of on like a first come first serve basis, but I really don't want to like lock down to just like one team for a month because
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
busy.
that's a good
Well,
idea,
yeah,
and that kind of comes
probably do
with
something like a VIP role, which would let you like see any team and like basically we make a role for people who are offering their services like that and maybe make one for artists and one for coders or
well
something.
Yeah, I
that
feel like for
does
creatives in general, especially like you mentioned musicians and stuff that usually just come in at the end or stuff like
Right.
that.
that
People who
that
really just kind of want to help out.
that does remind me a good point that I forgot to mention is that we are working to get the peer reviewers, the expert reviewers or whatever you want to call them, into the Discord channel and assign them a role based on what they're looking to do. So they're, helping to give a review throughout the month, and or they're becoming a judger, and we're inviting them to kind of have a public access of your different channels. Obviously, like if you don't want them to see whatever, we can change that. But what that allows them to do is maybe pop in every so often and see what people are working on, or if they do have feedback and you want them to come back into your team channel, they have the role access to do so. Um, so like we will have that ability. So that could be something we can kind of give a similar type of role permission for like a VIP or a floater. So we'll work on that and see if we can kind of work on that. So yeah, give us suggestions. Like we have Jamio there to kind of build us a foundation, make that part really easy. Knock on wood. And then as as a game jam organizer, we're here to kind of curate the experience for you. So if you have something that you want unique for this game jam, just let us know, because that's, in my opinion, is like the role of an organizer, is just to make sure that you guys are having a good time and that you've got the resources you need and have some creative ways to kind of share the experience. So however we can do that, let us know. So yeah, it's a good point. Uh, Running about an hour and a half now. You guys have any more notes that you want to talk about? Anything else that I missed? Or, I mean, some of this we can start talking in Discord once we sign out.
I don't think so.
You feeling pretty good, Tom and Katie?
Let the games begin.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got
All
no
right.
horses in this race. I just draw.
So cool. Let's join the public voice channel. I'll go ahead and copy that for you all, and then you can join that in the chat. So I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Again, let us know how we can help. This Game Jam's month's theme is giving. So kind of start thinking about that as we start to get teams together. And then let us know if you have any questions. You can obviously message us in the Discord, but there's also info at the GDEX.com. I can't type today. There you go. And that'll get to us as well. Sorry, what are you going to say, Tom? You're going to say something.
Someday you'll learn how to type.
Thank you,
I
Tom.
believe in you.
I appreciate that. Cool. All right. So let's get started with tonight. And then I'll meet everybody that doesn't have a team in the public. I see some people in their public voice channel, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody, and have a great jam.